already did, yeah, so maybe I should
Yeah.
make room for others.
No, I mean, it's whatever, you know, it's. You expecting a third person? I was just gonna say her.
I think Alan was gonna he was gonna be the moderator, right?
Yeah, but I was thinking I'd be on the corner end, but.
Oh, yeah, that's
so
fine.
anyway, but you guys sneak out.
Yeah, my brother's in town, I've gotta
Okay, cool.
leave about, a little bit after 4:45 to get home.
AJ, you set up? So we are gonna record this so that it both be posted on YouTube, Facebook, and probably our webpage, for other people that aren't here. I think people are coming, but you never know. So I wanna say three things and then we'll get started. One is, thank you so much, Stan and Joe.
Sure.
For being here as well as for kind of everything you've been doing for the community. Two is, kind of the structure of this is going to be, it's a discussion, it's not a candidate's debate. Stan isn't a candidate. Joe is running for Attorney General. It's a discussion that we're all gonna be part of. What I was thinking of for the format is going to be let Joe and Stan start off the discussion about what their image of what a progressive Attorney General could look like, and how that would benefit the state of Colorado. And then we're going to use a format that's essentially called the stack, which is if you want to say something, it doesn't have to be a question to anyone. It can just be kind of your own thoughts, your own sharing. You know, try to keep it a little bit short, but
If you would mind having them ask them to just say a little bit about their history too. I'd like to
Yeah,
know a little
but
bit about their, you know.
They've
as they
got
start, please.
time for whatever they want to say, and then you can ask them, you know, kind of ask them any questions or make your own comments. My role is gonna be, I may, you know, it's hard for me to not jump in with comments of my own, so I'll be participating, but I'm also mainly gonna be keeping a track. Just kind of raise your hand if you want, you know, when we get to that point, raise your hand if you want to say something. I'll put you down on the list, and then kind of just pretty much gonna keep everyone in order of when you want to comment. The only variation of that will be, number one, if I see someone that hasn't made any comments and hasn't spoken, I'll put them at the top of the list. And Stan and Joe are gonna be welcome to jump in anytime in the conversation that they kind of just wanna share something. So with that, yes, why don't you tell us who you are and then jump into the kind of what a progressive Attorney General would look like. Defer to the good district attorney.
Well, I'm Stan Garnett, I'm the district attorney in the 20th Judicial District, which is Boulder County. I'm 61. I've lived here since 1968 when I was 12. And I've been a lawyer since 1982. As you know, I sometimes mention, because it's relevant as to how I approach a lot of things. I was raised in a very religious evangelical home. I was actually training to be a minister in the Presbyterian Church. About halfway through my undergraduate years at CU in the early 70s convinced me that being a Presbyterian minister wasn't a great career path. So I finished off in classics in history and also Soviet studies. I was not fluent in Russian, but I had studied a lot of Russian, a lot of the Soviet Union, and traveled there. I went to law school kind of on a fluke with something to do, and I did well on the LSAT. I loved law school from the minute I was there. I knew I wanted to do trial work right out of law school. I went to the Denver District Attorney's Office where I worked with a very progressive district attorney then, a guy named Bill Tooley, became good friends with Bill Ritter and a number of other folks, and was always fascinated with being district attorney. I then went to 17th Street where I had a national litigation practice for 22 years. I managed the litigation practice at Brownstein Hyatt in Farber, which is a national firm. We had, when I left, something like 45 litigators, most of whom I had hired and trained, and my practice was across, was really an international practice, but I had done cases throughout the country. I spent 8 years on the school board, kind of fell in love with local politics with that, had the opportunity to run for district attorney in 2008 and was elected, and I've spent the last 9 years trying to bring my progressive vision to being district attorney in Boulder County. So that's who I am. Happy to talk about AG, but why don't we let Joe tell you who he is?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here. I've always enjoyed coming back to Boulder. This is where I went to undergrad, and this is where I had my my intellectual awakening, if we could put it that way, as during my undergrad years. I'm Joe Salazar. I'm a state representative, candidate for the Office of Attorney General. I represent House District 31, which is the Thornton area and parts of unincorporated Adams County. My family goes back long before there was a state of Colorado and long before there was a United States in this area, in the southwestern area of the United States, both on the Spanish and indigenous side. So we've basically grown up with the state of Colorado. And despite all those years, all those generations that have been here on my family, both sides, on my mom's and dad's side, I was the very first to go to college. As I said, I came here to the University of Colorado, had quite the awakening when I was here. I mean, there was just so much that I learned while I was a student here, and learned under great teachers such as Professor Vine Deloria Jr. and so many others, Dr. Esteban Flores, Elisa Facio. And after I graduated from the University of Colorado, I became a civil rights investigator for the state of Colorado and a criminal investigator as well with a division of insurance. Now, you want to talk about having a job that will get you or force you to go to law school, become a criminal investigator with division of insurance, where you're investigating bail bonds, agents, and having to deal with Dog the Bounty Hunter. I did that for about a year, and then I realized I needed to go to law school. So then I went to the University of Denver, where I graduated, and I received honors in employment and labor law, and then I started my own practice. I did work at, as an intern, I worked at Davis, Graham and Stubbs, and I also worked at the Attorney General's office in both their litigation units. And then when I graduated, I said, you know what? The big law firm thing isn't for me. There's just too much politics, and I want to fight for people as a civil rights attorney. And so that's what I did. I opened up my own firm, and I had my own firm for, well, I still have my own firm. I graduated in 2003. And I've taken on some really big cases, particularly against the federal government, Department of Veterans Affairs, and also the state of Colorado. And I'm so in tune with suing the state of Colorado, I'm just waiting until I sue the state and name myself as a defendant, as a state representative. But you know, I've won some really good decisions for employees, you know, preserving employee rights, and also civil rights and constitutional rights as well. And that's what I've done. I mean, I've always been a street fighter for people. When I was a student here, if you look at the past publications, and from 1981 or 1991 to 1993, I was a part of so many student organizations during that time period. I helped lead the march against the 500th anniversary of Columbus's accidental bumping into this area of the world. And you know, I also was there when the Rodney King beating happened and we shut down Highway 36. You know, I've always been on the front lines, and I guess that's pretty much what defines me, is that you know, people say, you know, the front lines seem to be your second home, and I'm like, oh no, I'm very much my first home. And that's how I've been as an elected official. I was elected in 2012, and I started serving in the legislature in 2013, and I'm pretty hard hitting. You know, I figure that we're about 10 years behind where we should be in our political world here in the state of Colorado, and that's because we just have too many politicians who play politics too much and don't represent the people. And so I've gained that reputation of being pretty hard hitting at the legislature. I don't take too much stuff from district attorneys, as well as the Attorney General and law enforcement, or oil and gas, or from cities and municipalities that hurt you know, the homeless population. And so, you know, that's the reputation that I've earned. I'm not afraid to go to places like Standing Rock to stand up for people. I'm also not afraid to be at every single march and rally and speak on behalf of the people there. So many politicians stay away from things like that because they're afraid that, oh, I'm gonna get caught on camera and I'm gonna say something I'm gonna regret later. I say what I say, and if I happen to catch flack for it, then so be it. But at least I'm there on the front lines with the people.